M's running in the background. Something's getting ready to go down. It's time to move the coop. I'm also going to tell you about how it's working for me so far. Stay tuned. Now, for those of you that have been with me through this entire process, and I'm talking from the day I bought the chicks on March 22nd of this year to the day I decided what coop I was going to buy to keep my chickens in. The first thing that I thought about was predation. Apparently not enough, because I lost 6 of my 8 original birds to foxes. And when I say that, I do mean plural. There are several around here. They are grays. You know, so one thing I wanted to, I am limited on space where I can have equipment and whatnot. So I wanted something that was movable, just like a tractor's movable. I want to be able to move that tractor and get it out of the way if I want to mow there. For me, permanent coop was not going to be the right decision, because about the time I build it or put a permanent coop in, I was gonna regret it and say, well, you know, I wanted something else there. Also, what it does is, now that I know I have to free range in full supervision, which is very seldom, I needed something that's movable that I can keep them on fresh grass. You know, if you live in an area where you have a complete fenced-in yard, that's great. You can free range them, and you know, then you only have to worry about aerial attacks. But the reality is I have ground attacks, I have aerial attacks, domestic dogs come down in here. People that you know, aren't very good with dogs, you know, and it's always the same dogs, by the way. But anyways, you know, the chicken tractor, something that you can move, for me, is great. Now, some of the complaints that I've heard about chicken tractors is that, oh, after you move them 3 or 4 times, they fall apart. You get what you pay for. If you buy a junky chicken tractor and you start moving it around, yeah, in a year it's probably going to be junk. This, however, I went and spent the money. I knew I would get what I paid for. This has reinforced, and some of you have seen this, steel framing on here. And I leave this chain hooked up. I never pull it off of here, and it lays right here. Now, this is an 8-foot run. Okay, 8 foot. So I pull it forward 10 feet. I got a 2-foot overlap, and I'm on fresh grass. Some of you may or may not know this, but chickens eat grass like cows and horses. I mean, they really do. When they say grass-fed chickens, they are really talking about grass-fed. Not, you know, they're not picking through and just eating the clover and whatnot like a deer. You know, so for a stationary coop, you better make sure absolutely where you're putting it is where you want it, because you're not going to move it. For me, this is absolutely fantastic as far as being able to move the coop. I'm going to do that right now. You can probably hear the M's running over there. I'm going to get this hooked up. I'm going to pull it 10 feet. Now, some of you in my last video, now you can see I've got my feeder there, my feed, my bricks and all that. They're like, well, why don't you just hang your feeder? And really, truth be known, this is a 15-pound feeder. It is designed to be hung, because when the chickens eat out of the side tray here, it gets empty, and then as they're picking it jiggles, and it keeps the food down in there. So I have to come in once a day and wiggle it, because it's sitting on bricks. Okay. The reason I haven't is because I just bought this coop, and I just can't bring myself to drill holes yet. You know, in a year from now, or 6 months from now, or 3 months from now, you know how it is, the novelty hasn't worn off yet. So once it does, I will hang these. Also, I have a pipsqueak chicken, and it would have to be pretty low to the ground for her to get it. So this is working right now. She can jump up on those bricks and eat and go from there. But as far as you know, a chicken tractor that's movable, they do not suck if you buy one that doesn't suck. You buy junk, you got junk. You spend the money, you don't. I would tell you right now, if you know, and I know you're going to say, "Oh, Justin Rhodes, have you seen his $5 coops?" Those don't work for me. You know, they just don't. Maybe for meat birds, you know, that 8-week meat bird, the Cornish cross or whatever you're raising, that might work. But you know, for long-term egg production, I wanted a building that I could essentially move, and that's what this is. So stay tuned and watch the end pull this thing forward a big whopping 10 feet. Now I'll walk you over here. And I moved it more than 10 feet. Got to get a little bit of action in on the end. This is all fresh grass. Some of it's clover, some of it's broadleaf. They're not picky eaters as far as what green they do eat, I've noticed. You know, like a deer would be, or for that matter, even a woodchuck. You do, you know, it does work as a grader because you do level your ground out. And I'm sure the next time around, in say a month from now or 2 months from now, when I'm pulling this back across here, it'll be a lot more level. So it does kind of grade your ground. I don't have a problem with it. They like to ride. They're in there. I don't think you can see them through the dirty screen, but about 4 of them are on roost. So, but yeah, I'm completely satisfied with this here. Another downfall of having a chicken tractor and not free ranging, or having a permanent run. A permanent run gets dirty. And free ranging or having that permanent run, they can dust bathe. They really like to dust bathe. And I do have sand in there, but it's not the same. So I think what I'm going to do is actually bring dirt in. You know, and every time I move it, just put dirt in the corner if they want to do a dust bath. It does turn into dirt. I can show you the bare spot I pulled it off of. Now, it was on this spot for about 4 days, and you can see the difference here. I mean, there's an obvious, clear difference here, right down to the dirt. And there's dirt here. They were actually, I saw some of the leghorns dust bathing in it, but you know, they were out of grass. I mean, they'd eaten this right down lip high. So this is working out real good. Certain spots I'm not going to have to mow. I just absolutely am enthralled by that fact. So And that's that. That's a Coop move. I'll do this, I'm going to tell you, every 3 days, maybe 2. It's keeping them on fresh grass. That's what it's all about. So they were eating grass until I opened the door. See, she's going along, the bigger barred rock's going along eating the grass. One of the new Rhode Islands is also eating grass. She's eating grass. Leghorn over there looking, pecking. Pipsqueak, she's looking around. She got a little wing feather out of place. I wonder how that happened. Probably her. But you can see how they're picking that, and it's not necessarily feeding down properly. So, and I've seen hens, what they'll do is they'll jump up on the top of that and eat down in the center of it. See, watch, she's going to do it, I think. No, because I'm on camera, she won't. She's looking, though. No. Yeah, and they get bugs and stuff. I'm sure there's bugs down in the grass. Right? But yeah, I've got them eating out of my hand now.